In one of our previous episodes, we learned and explored a lot about the Special Forces of Norway. And before even that, we learned a lot about how much power Norway has, not just as a country, but from a military perspective. However, with that in mind, today we are going to dive much deeper into understanding the different divisions of the military. And in this one, we are going to look at the Marines of Norway and figure out who these guys are, what they're all about, and maybe get an understanding of some of their history. How's it going, guys? Dave Walp here, and welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where I look at people, cultures, and places from all around the world. And in this video, we're looking at militaries. Now, this is actually a continuation of our military segments of Norway, so if this is kind of something that you're really interested in, you want to stay here. But for this video, I'm kind of doing it as a correction to our special forces, because I was saying things like the MJK, or the Marines Kystjegerkommandoen, they were part of the Marines, but I was actually wrong about that. But for this video, I'm looking specifically at the actual Marines of Norway, and that is the Coastal Rangers, or the Kystjegerkommandoen. I hope I got that right. So who are these guys? Well, yeah, they're the Marines. They're the guys that you just don't want to mess with. They know how to shoot. They know how to kick butt. They're not like the stormtroopers on this shirt who can't shoot worth a crap. These guys, they know what they're doing. Now, to understand a little bit about the Marines in Norway, today they have an estimated size, although rather small, coming in at approximately 86 Marines. However, I also read in different reports that there's approximately maybe about 100 of them. That includes operators and even staff. When I saw 86, I was like, that looks a little small for the Marines of Norway. I bet you it's much higher, so it might be anywhere in between that. It might be more, it might be less. And I know they might seem very small in size, but let's be perfectly honest here. When it comes to the Coastal Rangers, they've only been around for a very short amount of time. This unit has only been around since about 2001, and it was originally designed to have the strength of 500 to 1,000 soldiers. So why so recent? You're telling me that Norway didn't have Marines prior? Well, they kind of did, but they come from different units. So for their history, the KJK units evolved out of what is known as the Coastal Artillery, which, although over time throughout the 20th century, the unit became more of a mobile operation than what you might think it was. And actually, during the Second World War, these guys became extraordinarily famous. So famous that there is a little bit of legend around the Coastal Artillery. Because it was in the early days of the war that the Coastal Army fought off the Germans when they were actually invading the country. The story basically goes as this, that the Oslo Fjord Fort opened fire on the Germans when they were moving into their territory. And because of that, they ended up sinking the German ship known as the Blücher, and of course damaged another. And keep in mind, when the Norwegian forces saw the Germans coming in at this time, they didn't really know quite what to do. But however, the order to open fire was given by Colonel Birger Eriksen, who apparently was well known for saying either "I'll be a hero" or a criminal when making the decision to fire upon the Germans. And the reason why this decision became well known in the army was because when the Germans invaded on April 9th, 1940, they actually bought enough time for others to escape, as well as the royal family. As well, I should mention that during the Cold War, this artillery unit did become more mobile by training with Swedish forces in order to prevent Russians from amphibious attacks. And you might be wondering, how did the Marines get formed out of the coastal position units? Like, seems very odd. Well, this evolved because they came to realize that during the Cold War, weapons began to get more and more precise at hitting their targets. And therefore, sticking with the old times of having forts and artillery positions was a bit outdated. And this conversation went back and forth between officials until they pretty much decided in 2001 that these coastal positions needed to be abandoned. And it was at that time the country had decided to go with a more mobile unit, thus creating the Norwegian Marines. And it was only a few years after, on August 17th of 2005, that the group had become fully transitioned into what is known as an operational unit. So another thing that I find really interesting when it comes to the Coastal Rangers in Norway, they classify as an I-Star unit. What is an I-Star unit? Well, this is an abbreviation for any group that has intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition, and reconnaissance. But unlike other military units that are I-Star, these guys focus primarily on the amphibious area of combat. And this is where it can get confusing for people like myself. Basically, if you think of something like the Navy SEALs, you could say, are they amphibious or not? They do go from ground to land, but they usually work further out in the waters as well. Where Marines focus specifically on littoral or coastal areas. Oh, and by the way, before we continue with this video, I'm just going to put a little bit of a pause and a break on it for about 10 seconds and just let you know, because you guys are probably out there, most of you are probably from Norway, that's usually what happens in our videos, and a lot of you guys want more military content because that's what you guys are looking for. I know, you clicked on the video. So, with that being said, I made a playlist all about different military aspects and different military programs and units within Norway. So check out this playlist right here, or you guys can wait if you want to continue learning more about the Marines. You can wait till the end of this video or go down there in the description box below. But let's get back to it, shall we? Okay, cool. I think that was more than 10 seconds. So now let's just take a little bit of a step back and let's look at some of the equipment that the KJK uses. By the way, if I haven't mentioned it before, KJK is the short form for the Kystjegerkommandoen. So besides the use of helicopters, one very popular thing that you will see the Norwegian Marines in is the Combat Boat 90, also known as the CB-90. Now, this is a Swedish-made attack craft that can go up to 40 knots and can carry approximately 21 amphibious troops and all of their equipment. For this craft and the Norwegian Marines, they are usually launched from the HMLS Rotterdam, which is classified as an amphibious warship. Now, one question that you might want to know is, where does this unit garrison? Well, that's actually really hard to say right now as the time of recording this video because it's kind of up in the air. Because originally and throughout history, their garrison has been located in Trondenes, which is in Harstad in northern Norway. However, in 2017, there has been plans and a major push to close down this base and move the Marines to a different area in the Navy. Now, this does not mean that the Marines are going to go bye-bye, that they're going to be like, nope, see you later, guys, we don't like you anymore. You're just not useful. That's totally not true at all. According to the Army website, they stated that the proposed plan was not only to close down the old garrison, but to move the entire Marines to the Haxenverg base in Bergen, which has created so much controversy because a lot of people are saying, no, you got to keep them up north because that's where they are needed, because you got to be worried about the Russians coming into the territory, and that's why they're there. Also, besides being trained in multiple other different landscapes, this is their realm. The north is their location. So I can see why a lot of people are like, you shouldn't put them down south, keep them up in the north. Now, also on a side note, when it comes to the Trondenes fort in Harstad being chosen as the location for the coastal artillery unit, one of the major reasons why this was chosen is because it is home to the Adolf gun, which is located in that fort, which was a huge giant battery that was created by Nazi Germany. And as a matter of fact, the last time this battery was fired, it was in 1957, and it was officially decommissioned in 1964. So let's move along and let's look at some of the training, because not gonna lie, the selection process to become one of these guys is really tough. And you thought asking that girl out when you were 14 years old was a hard thing to do? That's nothing compared to what these guys got to go through. Now, according to the stats, for one to be in this group, one has to have a high physical ability and be able to work in teams and have a great mental aspect. Basically, from my knowledge, there is a 5-week selection course that one has to go through, in which after that, there is a 10-month vocational educational period. By the way, guys, remember how I said I'm totally okay with being wrong on facts? If anybody wants to correct me down there in the description box below, feel free to do so. If you were an actual ranger, that would be great. Also, guys, read down there. We get some good comments. And of course, within all of this, there also includes basic training, which moves on to a patrol course, and then there is that 10-month vocational education. And of course, this program is only entitled for Norwegian citizens. So me as a Canadian, see you later, guys. I'm done. Okay, I'm back. Let's continue. Of course, another requirement is that you pass part 1 and 2 of the theory test and can comply with the physical tests, as well as have a color view of 9, a hearing of 6, and also you have to have normal eyesight and cannot use contacts or glasses. Yeah, I'm out there because, believe it or not, there's contacts in here. That's not weird you out. As well, for the physical, you must be able to do 7 hang-ups, 30 push-ups, 35 sit-ups in 2 minutes, 20 deadlifts, as well as swim 400 meters in 12 minutes, march 7 kilometers with a 22 kilogram sack and equipment, which you got to do that in 49 minutes, so you got to be good with your cardio. Yeah. As well, one needs to be able to run 3,000 meters in 12 minutes in whatever clothing you want. Just don't go nude. I don't recommend that because it's cold in Norway. However, in today's world, I should mention that the Marines have become known as a very adaptive force, as they were even present in Afghanistan, part of Operation Enduring Freedom. As well, in Afghanistan, they also took part in Operation Hair Kate Yolo, or simply known as Front Straightening. Speaking about Operation Front Straightening, this one is really, really important. Because it was during this operation that the KJK linked up with the 2nd Battalion Unit in Mazar-e Sharif, Afghanistan. And these two took part in the largest battle that Norwegian armed forces have ever been involved in since the Second World War. Now, on top of that, I should also mention this is a very important battle. Now, I'm not sure if this was either a Marine or a sniper from the 2nd Battalion, because during this battle, a Norwegian sniper managed to hit a soldier at 1,380 meters with a Barrett M82A1, which, by the way, is the 14th longest shot in the entire world and is the longest shot ever recorded from a Norwegian individual. It's insane. As well, unfortunately for the Marines, when it comes to Afghanistan, it's been said that they lost a total of 3 soldiers during the entire operation. As well, the Coastal Rangers were also in Syria for Operation RECYSR, in which they worked with Danish forces to complete the task of destroying chemical substances, and that happened in 2014. Also, let's just mention the fact that the Norwegian Marines are always training with different task forces and groups in NATO joint operations from all around the world. One of the biggest of these that is held yearly is Operation Cold Response, in which this operation takes place every year at the Varenes garrison in Norway. As well, within the country, they also take part of Trident Juncture exercises. I also forgot to mention one last little interesting fact when it comes to the Marines of Norway. And that is the entire unit has received a military decoration from the United States, and that was the Commendation Medal for their work in Afghanistan. So either way, that's it, guys. That's me looking at the Marines of Norway. I hope this video does justice to my screw up from the last video, which actually reminds me, if there's any additional facts, maybe some people who are watching this video are actually people who served in the Marines, and you want to let us know a little bit more information, boom, put it down there, because I'm totally cool with you guys just giving us some extra info or even correcting some things. That's how we do it here on FTD Facts, and believe it or not, it actually happens quite frequently, because we get military guys that go, oh wait, yo, it's actually, there's this and this and this, so it's cool. They expand on our information. Which also, as I said earlier, if you guys are big military buffs, at the end of this video and down there in the description box below, I know you guys are coming here, you're wanting more Norwegian military facts videos, so I've got a whole playlist that I'm working on right now just for you guys, so check it out there in the description box below, or just wait till the end. We'll have it in a little card thingy. And of course, hit that subscribe button if it's your first time here. But other than that, I'm Dave Wappel, and I'll see you guys later. Okay, cool. Have a good one. So you made it to the end. Awesome, groovy, fantastic. So by the way, here is that military playlist that I was telling you all about like a million times. But also, if you just want to learn about Norway and some great things of the country, check this playlist out right here, because it's all about the country. Other than that, we'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have a good one. All right, bye.